Deanna Hallback. I'm here for this evening. The mic is not working. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. As we stated, my name is Deanna Hallback. I'm an associate director at the College of New Jersey. I've been employed at TC&J for about 12 years, but I've been in financial aid for about 16 years. I have experience working at a community college, a four-year public institution, and medical school. So I'm very familiar with the questions and concerns parents have. I know when I was going to school, my parents didn't know anything, so the learning experience as well. As was stated, the presentation will take about 45 minutes to an hour, and we should begin. Okay. The mission. This presentation tonight is actually sponsored by the New Jersey Higher Education Student Assistance Authority. HESA, also known as, they're the only agency in New Jersey whose sole responsibility is to help families navigate the college process. They have a lot of resources for HESA, and this is one of their resources, coming out to high school nights, providing financial aid information to families. So the goal of any financial aid office, regardless of what type of school a student is in, whether it's a community college, a four-year public college, or a private institution, the slide has a lot of information. We help families evaluate financial aid, find resources, but I like to explain that we're there to serve the families. So if you have any questions, by all means, contact the financial aid office, become very familiar with the people that work in the office, because those are the administrators that are going to help your child and you navigate not just the first year, but all 4 years throughout the college experience. So, starting with the first slide, sources and types of financial aid. I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this slide explaining the sources and types of financial aid. So, for example, sources of aid. The first type is federal. When you fill out the financial aid form, or the FAFSA form, that's the main form, which we'll talk about in the second half of the presentation. The federal government offers grant dollars, need-based, also issues scholarships, loans, and employment opportunities for students. Now, we move into the second bullet under sources, state of New Jersey. The state of New Jersey issues grants, need-based, scholarships. They also have a private loan provision, which I'll explain during the presentation. And the third bullet under sources of aid, the college or university. That's where you're looking for those merit scholarship dollars. So when you apply to college, all schools have some sort of merit scholarships. That's where you're looking for those merit scholarship dollars. And then the last bullet under sources, outside organizations. Those are your private scholarship dollars, your community scholarships, whether it be from Target, Walmart, maybe the credit union, your jobs maybe. So those are your private lenders who issue scholarships to students. So depending upon the source of aid will dictate the type of financial aid that a student may receive. Now, types of aid federal. So when you fill out the financial aid form, the FAFSA form, the free application for federal student aid, you're automatically applying for the grant dollars. That's from the federal government. So the first half of the slide, 2014, that's for students who are currently in school now. The bottom half, 2015-16, lists the allocations for next year. How many senior parents are in the audience? Okay. So senior parents, when you fill out the FAFSA, you're applying for the 2015-16. But the programs, the way they work, when you fill out the FAFSA form, for instance, the Pell Grant is a grant. It's based on need. So if you fill out the financial aid form, the FAFSA form, if there's some form of need, students will automatically be issued a federal Pell Grant. The maximum amount is $5,730 for this year, anticipating a $100 increase for next year. So students can receive anywhere, say, from $500 up to the $5,730. Now that's an annual amount. So whatever amount that they're issued for the Pell Grant, half is awarded during the fall, and half is awarded during the spring semester. Now there is a limitation for the Pell Grant. The Pell Grant you can only receive up to 6 years. Regardless if you're in one school or maybe you transfer, the Pell Grant, we keep a track of how many years a student has received the Pell Grant. So the maximum time is now 6 years. The next grant is the SEOG grant. That's the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. Maximum amount is $4,000. But the SEOG grant is what the federal government considers on campus. But the awards amount may differ. So at TC&J, we may award, say, $2,000. Student may attend Rutgers or a school out of state. You may see a different amount on their award letter. So if they're issued the SELG grant, just be aware that the amounts may differ because it's a campus-based grant. The next grant is the Teach Grant. Awards amount up to $4,000. The Teach Grant is for any student who wants to become a teacher. Now the Teach Grant, I would suggest, if your child or students who want to become a teacher, I will Google Teach Grant to read about the conditions for Teach Grant. Teach Grant, you have to work in certain areas, certain disciplines, and you have to teach for a certain amount of time after you graduate. But the one criteria for Teach Grant, if a student is awarded a Teach Grant, all schools have students sign what's called a Teach Grant Agreement to Serve. Because if a student does not teach and meet the criteria for Teach Grant after they graduate, this becomes a loan. And then students have to pay not only the loan, but all the interest that would have accumulated during that time that it was a grant. So we like to make sure that students are aware of the Teach Grant program. It's a very good program, but it does have some specific criteria if the student does want to teach. Moving along, the state of New Jersey issued the tuition aid grant. So when you file the FAFSA, the free application, the federal student aid, students are residents and parents residents of New Jersey, you will be considered for the tuition aid grant. So for 2014-15, this current year, awards range from about $1,100 up to $10,000. Now, the awards may differ depending on, of course, your need, but also the type of school that a student attends. Okay, so they may receive one amount at TC&J, they may receive a different amount at Rutgers because of the different costs of the school. But students must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen, must be a New Jersey resident, and this is key, they must attend a New Jersey institution. So, if a student decides I want to go to Penn State or to California, and they're eligible for the TAG grant, they can take their dollars with them across lines. And typically, must be a full-time student. There are some conditions where students can receive a part-time TAG grant as if they want to attend school part-time. But the state does issue a grant, and students are considered for that when they fill out the FAFSA. There's no additional application that students need to complete. The next program is the EOF program. EOF program is for students who come from financially and educationally disadvantaged backgrounds. The state has a program where they award grant dollars ranging from $1,100 up to $1,400 for students. Students primarily would check off on their admission application if they're interested in the EOF program. Their application is pulled, and then their income is checked by an EOF admissions counselor. And the last one on this slide is the Governor's Urban Scholarship. So if a student resides in an urban area in New Jersey and they meet certain criteria as of their junior year, students may qualify for the Governor's Urban Scholarship, and it's awarded $1,000. This slide, we're going to discuss the New Jersey STARS program. So some students that decide, I don't want to start out at a four-year institution. I want to start out, say, at a community college. So if a student wants to go to a community college and they meet the criteria, they may be considered for a New Jersey STARS student. So to be considered for a New Jersey STARS, students must graduate in the top 15% of their high school graduating class. It will cover county college tuition, okay? Not the fees, it will cover the tuition. Students must enroll full-time, they must maintain a 3.0. Students still must file a FAFSA form as well for this program. And STAR students are only eligible for up to 5 semesters. So if students meet the criteria, they will be eligible for the New Jersey STARS. Now, some students say, I graduated with my associate's degree, now I want to move on, say, to a 4-year institution. So if they continue as a New Jersey STARS 1 student, and continue on to a 4-year institution, now they will be considered for a New Jersey STARS 2 program. Okay? Now students still must file the FAFSA, but now they must maintain the 3.25 GPA. And then as STARS 2, enroll full-time. $2,500 annually. So there's a lot of opportunity for students if they want to start out at community college and then transfer to a four-year institution. State scholarship. The governor has an industry vocation scholarship for women and minorities. This is for any women and minority who wants to enroll, say, in construction supervision, solar energy, technology, and if they meet the criteria, New Jersey resident, file a FAFSA, they may be eligible for up to $2,000 for this program. This slide, factors that may influence institution eligibility. So as you know, when students are exploring colleges, they're looking at the criteria. Many colleges, when they're issuing their merit scholarship dollars, they evaluate students on a lot of different criteria. Some schools may evaluate students on their SAT, their class rank, maybe athletics, their community service. So when you're looking at colleges, you always want to find out what are the criteria for their merit scholarship program. Okay? That way students know what they're aiming for. And also if you have younger children, you may want to inquire, is the scholarship program going to change next year? Some scholarship programs may change next year. So depending upon the institution, there's a lot of different factors that may influence institutional aid eligibility. And then the last bullet, private or outside scholarships. Again, that's when you're looking for those private resources. Always encourage students to constantly look for private scholarships. Only thing they can tell you is yes or no. If you don't look, you may not never know. Types of aids, loans for students. So, when students file the FAFSA, again, the first bullet is the Federal Perkins Loan Program, awarded up to $5,500 at a 5% interest rate. Students are automatically considered for the Federal Perkins Loan Program. Federal Perkins Loan, again, is what we call a campus-based aid program. So, schools may award the Perkins Loan differently depending upon their criteria for Perkins. Typically, a student has to have need, and they may receive $5,500 or maybe less than that depending upon the school. This is a subsidized loan, which means the student does not have to pay any interest while they're attending school. Now, the Perkins loan does have some loan forgiveness component. So if a student was interested, they could Google Federal Perkins Loan, and depending upon maybe where they work and how long they work in that certain field, this loan may be written off every year depending upon the loan forgiveness criteria. Federal Direct Loan Program. The next bullet is discussing the Stafford loan. That's the most popular loan program that many families may have heard of. So when a student files the FAFSA form, all students, regardless of income, whether you make $20,000, whether you make $1 million, all students will be awarded or offered a Stafford loan. Now the slide states subsidized Stafford loan $3,500 need-based, unsubsidized Stafford loan $2,000. So what that means, all students will be awarded a total of $5,500 in the Stafford loan program. But if a student has some form of need, the government says we'll award you what's called a subsidized Stafford loan. No more can be, the loan, subsidized can't exceed $3,500, okay? And then the balance may be $2,000. Now, if a student doesn't have any need, they're still eligible for a Stafford loan, but they may receive the whole $5,500 in an unsubsidized. Now, the difference, subsidized, the government will pay the interest on that portion of the loan while the students are in school. They don't have to pay anything while they're in school. The unsubsidized portion of the Stafford, the students will be billed for the interest on about a quarterly basis. Okay? If they can pay the interest, it's to their benefits. If not, then the interest continues to add up and is capitalized until they graduate. But you can always prepay the interest if you choose to do so. So that's the difference between the subsidized and the unsubsidized. Now, to give you a little bit more information, you file the FAFSA in your second year. The student is a sophomore. That Stafford loan is increased to $6,500. File the FAFSA in your third year, your junior or your senior year, it's increased to $7,500. So depending upon the year the student is in school, the Stafford loan continues to increase. Now for this current government charges. So although a student is eligible for that $5,500, that's the gross amount. The net amount is less than 1.073, and that's the amount that will be dispersed to the student's account. So on or about July 1, we'll know exactly what the interest rate and the origination fee will be for next year. That's for the senior parents. And the last bullet, monthly payment plans offered by the college. All colleges offer some sort of payment plan. I like to discuss payment plans when I'm counseling families because some families say, no, I can't afford to pay the entire balance that we owe, but I know I can afford to pay something over time. That may reduce the amount of loans that a student may have to take out. So many schools will send information over the summer to incoming families about the monthly payment plan. Typically it's awarded either through the financial aid or through the student accounts office. So if you're interested in the payment plan, by all means, talk to someone after school. And many payment plans, there's a nominal fee, and then that's all that you pay. And then you establish your contract amount. So if you say, you know what, I can afford to pay $100 a month, $500 a month, okay? So you set up your payment plan as you see fit. Types of aid loans for parents. So the first loan on this slide is a New Jersey class loan. That's a loan offered by the state of New Jersey. This is a private loan, which means you have to fill out a separate application. This is not connected to the FAFSA. Okay? Now, the New Jersey class loan can also be taken out by students. I do want to make that distinction. So if you were to go to the website for New Jersey Class, which is www.njclass.org, you will also see that students can take out the New Jersey class loan, but they will need a cosigner, or a parent can take out the New Jersey class loan. But New Jersey has two options. There's a variable rate starting at 4.48. This option had a 0% fee. This loan is for 10 years. You're paying on a monthly basis principal and interest if you decide that you like this particular option. Now, some families say, Ms. Hallback, I like fixed rates. What do they offer? New Jersey offers fixed rates ranging from 5.99 to 8.40 for this current year, 2014-15. Now, the fixed rate for New Jersey has a 3% processing fee. So that 3% is taken off of the top, and the net amount is the amount the student will have to pay the bill. Now, to give you an example of how the fixed rates work, the 5.99% loan, that's a 10-year loan, monthly payments of principal and interest. Some families say, no, I'm not crazy about that option. What option do they have? The middle option is around 6%, 6.25, I think. That option, you get to extend your loan term. Now you have 15 years if you like that option. But that option, families can choose to pay principal and interest on a monthly basis, or they can just pay interest on a monthly basis. So you choose which option you like for that one. And then the last option, 8.40, that's a full deferment because you're not making any payments at all. No principal, no interest. But the term for this loan is 20 years. So New Jersey class loan has a lot of different options where you can choose which option works best for you. And they also have on their website a repayment calculator. So you can add in a certain amount and you can see what your payments would be over time. Yes, ma'am?
Can they only go to New Jersey schools with this loan?
Good question. This loan can be taken out of state because it's private. So New Jersey class loan, if you want to go out of state, you can take these funds out of state because it's a private loan. The last loan, 2014-15 Federal Plus loan. This is a federal loan offered by the federal government. This loan is a 10-year loan. Interest rate is 7.21, and it has a 4.292 origination fee. Now, the Plus loan is awarded differently at schools. So, first, incoming freshmen, so senior parents, when you receive your estimated award letters, some schools may automatically list this Plus loan on your estimated award letter. Some schools do not. Okay, that's their preference. But if you're interested in the Plus loan, some schools may have a paper application you have to complete, or they can do it online, depending upon the school. But it is a 10-year loan. If you're having difficulty making payments after the loan is dispersed, by all means you can contact the federal government. They do you will have to wait until the loan is dispersed. Now, if you fill out the PLUS loan and you're denied, parents, the government will not deny the student. So, the parent fills out the PLUS loan and comes back that they're denied because it checks your credit history, etc. Then the student will be offered an additional federal staffing loan. Okay? So, as a first-year student, they will be awarded an additional $4,000. So, once you fill out the FAFSA, all freshmen are going to be offered a $5,500 staffing loan. Now, if the parent then comes in and fills out the PLUS loan, and they're denied, they're going to get an additional $4,000. So that's a potential $9,500. Okay, so that's one of the criteria in the PLUS loan application. If the PLUS loan is filled out, say the sophomore year, it's still $4,000 if the parent is denied. And then when students, if they're juniors or seniors, if the PLUS is denied, then they receive $5,000. So they continue to try to help the student. And then the last option is institutional and private loans. So these are your bank loans. Wells Fargo, Sallie Mae, Chase. Everyone has some form of student loan. So some families may say, you know what, New Jersey Class Plus, I may look at the bank that I'm already familiar with. Okay? In that case, you would fill out your application at that particular bank. Same thing. Banks may offer fixed rates and variable rates. The key is what are you looking for? What type of interest rate you're looking for? Are you looking for some that don't have any fees? What are the terms and conditions? And then also, is the parent going to take out the loan or is the student going to take out the loan? Now, student takes out any alternative loan or private loan, they're going to need a co-signer because students, of course, don't have established credit history entering college. It could be the parent, I can co-sign, grandma can co-sign, okay? So anyone can co-sign for a student, but they will definitely need a co-signer. Now we're going to move into how to apply. First application is the CSS profile. How many families have heard of the CSS profile application? Okay. CSS profile is not that widely known. Okay? CSS profile is totally separate from the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The CSS profile is used by institutions who want to gather a lot more data than the FAFSA so they can make sure they're awarding their institutional, so their need-based scholarships to families fairly. So the CSS profile will require a lot of more information than the FAFSA, such as maybe non-custodial parent information, home equity, pension. A lot of that information is not asked on the FAFSA. Now, the CSS profile is only used by about 400 schools nationally, so you can see it's not that widely known. Now in New Jersey, it's only used by Princeton University, Stevens Institute, and now the College of New Jersey. This is our first year using the CSS profile. Okay? So if your student is only applying to schools in New Jersey, is not one of those three, you don't have to fill this out. Typically, if you're already researching schools, you would know if the school does suggest or require the CSS profile. CSS profile was available as of October 1, and many schools have specific deadlines for the CSS profile. There is a fee. There's $25 for the first college and $16 for each additional college. This is the website and this is the phone number. Many of you also have the presentation printed. If you have any questions, by all means, you can contact the College Board. Now we're going to explain the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. The FAFSA must be filed or should be filed every year. It's available every January 1. It is a free form, and the first bullet states, submit the FAFSA prior to the earliest school deadline. What that means, for incoming freshmen, all students will be sent an estimated report letter if they file the FAFSA form. So many schools have priority deadlines. So that way, families can submit their FAFSA data early so schools can process it. And typically, you'll receive your estimated financial aid letter around end of March, beginning of April. Because May 1 is the deadline when students have to submit their deposit. So when you see that priority deadline for FAFSA, that's why schools have that deadline. Be sure to answer all optional questions such as gender and driver's license. This speeds up processing. The student does not have a driver's license. they can just leave that field blank. Now, the FAFSA is going to collect families' personal and financial information and is going to calculate an expected family contribution. That's the number that schools use to award financial aid, and there's a slide during the presentation where I'll explain how that works. But you want to make sure you file the FAFSA electronically. The correct website is FAFSA.gov. Please do not go to FAFSA.com. They will charge you. Okay, it is a free form, so you want to make sure you file the correct form. Now, you can't estimate information on the FAFSA. A lot of families say, well, my school wants me to fill it out now or before I do my taxes. What do I do? You can use your prior year income. So, for any seniors in the audience, you're filing the FAFSA, you will need 2014 income information. But if you want to file it prior to doing your taxes or getting your income information, you can use 2013 information. Okay? And the last bullet, use the IRS data retrieval tool to populate income and tax information. So if you're not familiar with the FAFSA, when you come to the income portion for both the students and the parents, you can actually link to the IRS to download your tax information if you've already filed taxes. So, if you file taxes electronically, you must wait 2 weeks to file your FAFSA. If you're still filing your taxes via paper, you have to wait 6 to 8 weeks. So, if I'll say file my taxes today, and then I wait 2 weeks and then I'll file my FAFSA, when I come to the income portion of the FAFSA, it will ask you various questions as you file taxes, maybe your zip code, etc. It will actually link to the IRS and download all of your information from the IRS. The reason why you should choose that option if you can, one, of course, make sure that your information is correct because it's coming from the IRS. And secondly, you're less likely to be selected for an audit. Sometimes the government has a process called verification, where they select families at random. They say, we want to select you, you, and you. And then schools will have to contact you, say, for your tax information and some other documentation, basically just to make sure everything was filed correctly. So if you haven't ability to use this option, I would really encourage to do so. Again, please avoid paying for the FAFSA. Like I said, it is a free form. I know some families, when they're first filling out the FAFSA, it may seem overwhelming and intimidating, but the FAFSA has a lot of checks, a lot of questions, and it walks you through the entire process. And you may also contact the financial aid officer that you're applying to if you have any questions. We receive families a lot from incoming freshmen that have questions about the FAFSA. And you may also contact HESA at 1-800-792-8670. They have a customer care line, so if you have any questions as well, they're also a resource. If you're not familiar with the FAFSA, this is the screen for the FAFSA. Now you want to make sure, senior parents and students, that you're filing the 2015-2016 FAFSA. Because currently there are 2 FAFSAs listed. If you see the 2014-15, that's for students who are currently in school now. But you're applying for the 2015-16 FAFSA. So you want to make sure that you fill out the correct FAFSA. Register for a PIN. All families filing electronically, you need to sign the FAFSA. So the PIN is your electronic signature. So you can go out today, if you've never heard of it, go to www.pin.ev.gov and obtain the PIN number. Both the student and the parent need the PIN number. So, student, you will use your PIN number to sign your FAFSA. If you're going to accept your Stafford loan, you would use that PIN number to sign your promissory note for your loan. Parents, if you have more than one child, you can use the same PIN number in case you already have children in college. Okay? You can also use the same PIN number for multiple children. So parents only need one PIN number. Or parents, if you already have a PIN number and you forgot it, you can always log on to the website to retrieve your PIN number and change that. Now, just to give you a little heads up, the FAFSA, the federal government is actually moving away from the PIN number because of identity theft, etc. Sometime in late April, it will be a seamless process, but students then will be able to create their own username and password instead of using a PIN number. something in the news or you receive an email after you file your FAFSA, say sometime in April. Some general eligibility requirements for the FAFSA. Students must have a valid Social Security number, must be enrolled or accepted into a program. So of course now they're still applying, but by the time they enter college in the fall, they will have been accepted. Pursuing a degree or certificate or some other recognized credential. Students must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. And male students must register with Selective Service. Do not leave that question blank. They will be rejected. You will receive information saying that you did not answer that question. If a male student is under the age of 18, there's also a subset question that asks, when you turn 18, would you like us to register you? They have that option as well. Some key components of the FAFSA. So, of course, students, demographics, last name, Social Security, date of birth, I mentioned the driver's license number. All applicants must indicate their gender. If students work during the summer, say last summer, their income also must be reported on the FAFSA. Students can also have the option, if they file taxes, to use their IRS data retrieval tool to link to the IRS. The third bullet, student status, independent versus independent. On the FAFSA, there's a set of questions that may ask, how old is the student? They're trying to determine if the student is, say, under the age of 24. If they're married, do they have any children? If they're an orphan or ward of the court, if they're homeless, if they're a veteran. So those sets of questions, many families will wonder, why are they asking these questions? Those questions are used to determine if a student is classified as a dependent student or an independent student. So if the student answers no to all those questions, they're classified as a dependent student, which means on the FAFSA, it's going to require parent data, okay, parent income information. If the student answers yes to one of those questions, the FAFSA reroutes itself and is not looking for any parent data because the student is then classified as an independent student. But beware, many colleges, especially for incoming freshmen, will follow up to say, well, why are you independent? Okay, they may ask for proof of why the student is independent because independent students receive higher amounts of loans and some other aid programs. So if you have any questions about that particular section, by all means, contact the school and then you can have those discussions early. And demographics, same thing. Who's a parent? Parent, they're going to ask you for your Social Security, your name, your date of birth. Household size, number in college. This is another popular question. Household size. If you have adult children, say, living in your house of over 24, for FAFSA purposes, they're not considered to be in your household for the FAFSA. Okay? So that's what they mean household. Number in college is taken into account. So if you have more than one child in school, by all means, you want to say 2 or 3. That's also evaluated when calculating the FAFSA information. Parents' income, assets again. You can use the IRS data retrieval tool. List your income earned from work. Federal means tested benefit. Those are also questions on the FAFSA. If anyone receives SSI, SNAP, free or reduced lunch, TANF. Okay, those are all questions. Do not leave those questions blank. Okay, your FAFSA is evaluated a little bit differently because you're on those programs. School choice. List a New Jersey college first. Many families say, well, why should I do that? Well, for New Jersey, I talked about the New Jersey tuition aid rates. The HESA only looks at the first school on the FAFSA. So you can list up to 10 colleges on the FAFSA, and all 10 colleges, or all 3, or all 5, whatever is listed, will receive your FAFSA data. But for New Jersey, HESA, they will only look at the first school on the FAFSA. So if you have Rutgers University on your FAFSA data will be considered for tuition aid grant, say for Rutgers University. So you want to list your top school in Jersey. Now, if you list Villanova, you will receive a letter in the mail. You are not eligible for aid because you're attending a new out-of-state school. Okay? So you want to make sure you list a New Jersey school first. And then the last bullet, you may want to highlight this. Once submitted, use the link from the FAFSA confirmation page. And there's a slide during the presentation. When you finish the FAFSA, there's a link that says start your state application. HESA asks for 4 additional pieces of information that will link you to their their website. And I'll show you in the presentation where that is. You want to make sure you answer those questions. If you don't, HESA will contact you at your home twice by mail and say you did not answer our questions. Here's our opportunity to do so. Some common mistakes that are made on the FAFSA: student's name. You want to make sure the student lists their name exactly as it appears on the Social Security card. So if Jennifer, if the student name is Jennifer, don't list Jen. You want to list the full name. Parent section versus the student section. This is another section that I've seen where families may make a mistake, especially if they're manually entering in their data. Okay, I had one family a few years ago, I'll never forget. They came in, met with them to discuss the aid program for student enrolled. I was looking at the FAFSA, and I noticed the student list that she made $160,000. I said, well, where did you work during the summer? You made a lot of money. And evidently, I knew it was incorrect because the parent side, and they made $160,000. But the key with that, they were not selected for that audit process. So we never really had to look at their FAFSA data. So if they had not come in or did double checking, that would have never been caught. So the key is to make sure you check your FAFSA data after you file it to make sure it's filed correctly. Number of people in the household, again, another common mistake. Divorced or remarried household. This is another one that some families may have questions. If you're divorced, whoever the student is living with 50% of the time, that's the spouse or the parent that information should be listed on the FAFSA. Okay? Now, if I'm divorced and I've remarried and my child is living with me, now I must list my income and my spouse's income on the FAFSA. Okay? There was a new rule last year about unmarried families. So if anyone is unmarried, living together, and you have a child, now you must include both parents' income on the FAFSA. Prior year, it didn't matter. You can basically list the parent with the lower income. But now the federal government wants both parents, if you have a biological child, even though you're not married, but you're living together, on the FAFSA. So that's another caveat. So those are just some common mistakes. Parental assets, 0 is a number. By all means, list 0 if you don't have something. How to be considered for state aid. So make sure, of course, you want to file the FAFSA. Make sure you list New Jersey, the New Jersey school first on the FAFSA. And then once you submit the FAFSA, you want to link to the state website. Now, the fourth bullet in red says new njgrants.org. This is a new website for students and families. If you go to that website, you can track your status with the tuition aid grant. You can also answer those additional questions in case you missed it after you filed your FAFSA. But you can also change your school. So after you file the FAFSA, you say, oh, I forgot to list New Jersey school first. Or maybe you were never planning to attend a school in New Jersey. Now you decided to stay in state. You can link to that website and change your school choice. And then you'll be reevaluated for the tuition aid grant at that particular institution. Once you complete all the steps, HESA will send a hard copy letter to your mail sometime during mid-spring, letting you know if you're eligible for the TAG grant and what school they're considering you for. And then schools are automatically notified by HESA of the students attending their school and the grant. So when you receive your estimated financial aid letter, you may not see this tuition aid grant listed. Some schools may use an estimated calculator and run your current data through the system and give you an estimate of what you may receive until HESA confirms that. So if you see estimated, they're giving you an idea the student may be eligible for a tuition aid grant at that New Jersey institution. So on this slide, so this is the confirmation page for the FAFSA. So many families think they're done, but however, if you see optional feature, start your state application, click here. That's where you're going to click, and then a separate window will pop open, and then it will automatically link you to the New Jersey website. And if you're like me, I would probably miss that because I can't see. But you want to make sure you click that link, okay? Now, like I said, if you forget, you can always use that njgrants.org and answer those questions. That's the link that I was referring to. So, what happens next? So when you file the FAFSA and all your information is taken into consideration, how many in your household, And then the federal government calculates what's called an expected family contribution. That number, you'll see that number on the confirmation page. It'll tell you what your estimated family contribution is. That number is the basis of the financial aid package. But the EFC is the formula that's used to calculate all your information. But the way I like to explain the EFC is the EFC is used in conjunction with how much a college costs to determine if the student is eligible, say, for some grant dollars for that subsidized loan where they don't have to pay any interest. And then some schools use that EFC number maybe to award some of their needs scholarships. So when you see the estimated family contribution number, just know it may not equate to exactly what you have to pay out of pocket, depending upon what the student is attending, how much the school costs, and how much financial aid you're receiving. So your gap or the balance you have to pay may be a little different, depending upon the type of school the student attends and the aid package. Cost of attendance or budget. So many of you have toured schools, visited schools, and you often hear the cost of attendance and you see the sticker price for the college. That number is what we call in financial aid the cost of attendance or the budget. Now that cost of attendance can be broken out into two components. One is the direct cost, which is billed by the institution, tuition and fees, and the room and board. And then you have indirect costs. Those are costs that are not billed by the school, such as books and supplies, equipment, transportation, miscellaneous, loan fees, etc. Now, many families, when they come into, say, my office at the College of New Jersey, they say, Ms. Hallback, what is the bill going to be in August? How much am I going to have to pay? They want to know about the direct costs, tuition and fees, and room and board. So if you're still researching schools and trying to determine which school a student may attend and you're trying to figure that out, you may want to dig a little bit deeper. Maybe try the student council website or Google tuition and fees at that school to find out exactly what the bill may look like. If they're staying on campus, what tuition and fee rates are. Many schools in Jersey will announce the tuition rate typically around July 1. So if you have an estimate, you can always look at the current cost. But the combined direct and indirect cost is called the cost of attendance. And that number also is used in financial aid to tell the aid offices that your total package, your grants, loans, scholarships, can't exceed the cost of attendance. So we have to abide by regulations to make sure we don't over-award a student on their financial aid package. Now, some unexpected costs students may incur. Remediation classes. So say if a student enters college, maybe they don't place into that college level writing or math class. They may have to take an additional semester to get caught up. Change in major. They may take 1 to 2 years. No, I changed my major. It took me an extra year. So those are just some additional factors that may cause students to incur extra costs. Transferring is another one. Students decide to transfer, say, mid-season or after their first year. Not all schools accept the same college classes from different schools. So one thing that I do see a lot now is study abroad. That's very popular. A lot of students want to study abroad, and many colleges have very good study abroad programs. They promote studying abroad. Studying abroad, depending upon the school, may cost more than students, of course, staying in the United States to go to school. So I would encourage students to check with their financial aid office. Many financial aid programs can be used out of state, but it's a good idea for students to sit down with a counselor to devise a plan if they want to go abroad, say in their sophomore year or junior year, to find ways to pay for that, and also look for scholarships for study abroad. So, financial need. The cost of attendance, as I said before, that's how much the school costs for the tuition fees, room and board, books, supplies, etc. So, for example, in this example, say this community college was $13,000. The state college university is about $25,000, and then the private college university is about $45,000. This family's EFC, expected family contribution, when they filed the FAFSA, was $20,830. That EFC number remains constant, regardless of what type of school a student attends. But now, what aid offices do is subtract the cost of attendance and the EFC. If there's a balance, that tells them that the student has some form of need. So in this example, student, if they want to attend that community college, college, they wouldn't be eligible for any grant dollars because they don't have any needs. Now, the student at the state college or private college or university, they have some form of need. So this student may receive some grant dollars. They may receive maybe a need scholarship from that institution. They definitely will receive that subsidized loan that I talked about, but they don't have to pay any interest. So this is how everything comes together regarding how much the school costs, the FAFSA data and the output from the FAFSA, and then how aid offices have to award state and federal dollars. The shopping sheet. The shopping sheet is a fancy way of saying this is your award letter. All schools now are mandated to have some form of a shopping sheet, and shopping sheet must contain certain information. The government felt that, of course, financial aid can be confusing for many families. So when you're sitting down trying to compare your financial aid letters, you want to compare apples to apples, not apples to oranges. So many award letters and shopping sheet will give you the cost of college, the total number of grants that the student may receive, scholarships, loan options, and maybe other options to the payment plan that I talked about earlier. Also, many schools may list additional statistics, such as your graduation rate. Some families are very interested. What is the graduation rate at this school? Are students graduating in 4 years or 5 years? Also, the loan default rate. Another popular one is the median borrowing rate. We hear that a lot. What is the average borrowing rate for loans for students who graduate from the institution? So some schools may give you some additional statistics that you may want to know. But basically, a shopping sheet is your award letter. Now, as incoming freshmen, some schools may send award letters via the mail. Some schools may send students award letters electronically. So everything is online now, since many students will have to log in to their online portal for their school to view their award letter. So if you're not sure how the award letter is being sent, make sure you check with the financial aid office. That way you know which avenue to check. Net price calculator. All institutions must have a net price calculator posted on their website. This is for families who want to determine, well, you know I didn't file the FAFSA yet, or I'm really early, but how much may I receive if I attend that institution? So if you were to Google net price calculator, typically it's on the financial aid website. You can type in your data, your information that they're requiring for your income, etc. And then the output result will let you know if the student was attending. They may receive, say, this particular grant. Some schools may list scholarship data, and of course they will list the student loans. But it is an option for families. But the one thing to note about the net price calculator is that it's always going to give you an estimate based on the prior year, of course. Because the student hasn't enrolled, we don't have the tuition rate. But it is a tool available to families if you want to get an idea and you haven't filed with FAFSA. Special circumstances. I was very pleased that HESA included special circumstances in the presentation. Special circumstances basically means the federal government has allowed financial aid offices to reevaluate the FAFSA under certain conditions. Because of course, once you file the FAFSA, life goes on. Sometimes things change in students or a family's household, such as unemployment, disability, retirement, unfortunately death, maybe separation or divorce, loss of untaxed income. These are just some examples. So after you file the FAFSA, if you encounter some type of hardship or something changes in your financial status, by all means, contact the financial aid office and say, I filed the FAFSA, but now my situation is X, Y, and Z. Will that make a change? Can you reevaluate my FAFSA? Schools can reevaluate FAFSA based on these circumstances, and some schools may have extended the list. But what that allows you to do is write a letter to the school explaining your situation. Based on the circumstances, schools will then project your income for that new year. In some cases, it may benefit the student. Maybe they didn't receive a grant. Now they may be eligible for a grant. So by all means, contact the school, whether it's in the first semester or maybe it's in the spring semester, something changed. Okay? When special circumstances is reviewed, it's being reviewed for the whole year, fall and spring semester. So just make sure that you're aware of that in case you have any additional questions. The cycle of the financial aid. So, January to March. This is FAFSA season, as we call it in financial aid. So you want to make sure you're filing your FAFSA sometime between January and March. And as I said, many schools may have that priority deadline. That's because we want, firstly, incoming students to file by January and March. Now, March and May, that's when schools will send that estimated financial aid letter. Now, if you apply to a school and you haven't heard anything regarding the estimated letter, that's when you want to give them a call and say, I filed the FAFSA, I checked, I listed your institution, I haven't received anything, just to make sure nothing went wrong or what have you. And then June and July, this is when schools will send that fall semester bill. And then typically the spring bill may be sent in December or January. But the financial aid process is cyclical. Same thing every year. Okay? Every January to March, tax season is FAFSA season. That's what I say usually. Okay? And then everything every same time. But now when students become upperclassmen, they may not receive their award letter as early. They will typically receive that sometime during the summer because now they're upperclassmen. So what now? So if you're still researching schools, still want to continue to apply to the colleges and universities that you're considering, continue to submit financial aid materials, look at those deadlines, whether it's the CSS profile, as I said, that's not required by all schools, but if the school does require it that a student's applying for, you want to make sure you meet their deadline. Complete the FAFSA again, and then also for the state of New Jersey, you want to make sure that you're answering those additional questions. Now, the bullets in green, those are for renewal students. So once a student is now upperclassman sophomore, the state would like their FAFSA to be filed by June 1. So that's a deadline for New Jersey to have the FAFSA filed. So other resources, this is a 4-year journey. Continue to look for outside scholarship students. Like I said, I can't stress that enough. The only thing they can tell you is yes or no. Campus administered payment plans, I talked about that at the beginning. By all means, look at the payment plan as an option if that's something that you want to consider as a family. That will greatly reduce the amount of loans that a person has to pay over the life of their college career. Campus employment is another opportunity. When students file the FAFSA form, the free application for federal student aid, there is a question. Are you interested in work? That's for the student. If they answer yes, and they have some form of need, the schools may award federal work study. Work study is a work program. Students will receive a stipend. They would contact their career center, most likely find a job on campus. They will work every 2 weeks, and that's money in their pocket. Now, the work study money, like I said, is a job, so it's not deducted from the bill. It's on the financial aid letter, but it's not deducted from the bill. Now, student doesn't receive federal work study, may also want to inquire. Many schools may have a wait list for work study because work study is popular. So you may want to inquire, do you have a wait list? I wasn't eligible, or not eligible, but I didn't receive it. Am I eligible? And then some schools also have other campus employment that are not related to the FAFSA. So there are opportunities for students to work. Specialized campus opportunities. So of course when students become sophomores, they talk to upperclassmen, they kind of figure things out. There's resident advisors. Students may decide to work in their dorms or their residence halls. Some schools may offer discounted housing when students work as a resident hall advisor or different things of that nature. Student ambassadors. Those are the students that give you your tours when you go visit colleges. Some colleges may pay their student ambassadors. So there's lots of different ways, resources that students can utilize. Private scholarship search. As I said, this is the slide where some websites are listed, but by all means continue to look for scholarships. Many search engines will ask students their information such as what are your interests, your major, your career, etc., or maybe where you live at. And they will send students scholarships based on what they enter for their criteria. And then of course students will have to apply. NJVEST College Savings Plan. This is through NJHESA. So if anyone is currently invested in the NJVEST College Savings Plan, there's a scholarship component. You would have to contact HESA, go to their website, complete the application, and students may be considered for a scholarship ranging from $500 up to $1,500. I believe you have to be invested for about 4 years. So if you're not currently invested in the 529 savings plan and you're interested, by all means, you can contact HESA, go to their website, and you can enroll in not just about college, about K-12, different brochures. There's a wealth of information on their website. The njgrants.org website, that's the website again, where you can check your status for the New Jersey Tuition Aid Grant. You can change your college choice in case you're changing schools. And you can answer those 4 additional state questions. Yes, ma'am.
If the student receives private scholarships,
Yes.
does that affect the need-based scholarships from the school? Does it get deducted, like if they were to get a need-based scholarship from the school? Do they now deduct that private scholarship from the needs that are given to the student?
Many schools don't. Many schools, the question was, if the student receives, say, community scholarships or private scholarships, how are they affected by the other aid the student receives? Many schools will award their private scholarship dollars, then they will award their institutional dollars. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes, if you have any personal questions you want to ask in front of the group, I can hang out for a little bit and talk to you one-on-one. But if not, I thank you. I hope you found it informative, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much. This has been a tremendous amount of knowledge, and TV21, I thank you, and all of you that came tonight, I thank you. And also, because of people like Ms. Halbach, we now have a program called Open Pathways to Education Now. And they'll actually, I put the rule here, the old football coach. You can actually take this sheet, and it's in the back. Mr. Warzik, if you could raise it. We have a sheet for every one of you. And if you have any questions about your FAFSA form, they will do the FAFSA form with you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so those dates are the 24th. And one of the things, please, 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 this old timer that's up here today, 62, please don't wait on your financial forms. There were some people that waited until May and June and got nothing. And there were some people that went to this meeting last year and did it the next week and went over to OCC and got it done, and they got lots and lots of money. And there were kids who had great grades, and there were kids that were EOF. I was an EOF kid in 1971. That meant I got a free lunch every day. But I had an opportunity to go to college because of that program that in here in New Jersey. So please, if you have questions, Ms. Halbach's going to stay. We will all stay. But please see Mr. Warzek. All you have to do is call and set up time. There'll be a computer. There will actually be representatives, just like Ms. Halbach, at OCC. It'll be staffed by all the people from the state of New Jersey. And you don't have to go to OCC. You can be going anywhere. They will fill out these, and again, this is information we just recently got, but if you don't feel comfortable tonight just said, okay, I have some questions, you must sign up for it. You can't just go over there and say, do my FAFSA form. There's a phone number, and you must fill this out. So please, again, Ms. Halbach, thank you so very much.